Hey guys, this is week 29. Let me hop right into this. I have 7 movies to review for you, and I'll draw for the contest, and I have a fairly big update due to Black Friday. Still have more coming after that. But the first one I will be reviewing is the double feature of The Violent Years and Anatomy of a Psycho. This is from AFCA Films. I think this is their 3rd release, or their 4th. I'm not necessarily 4th. I think that the 3rd was Bat Pussy. Let me hop right into this. The Violent Years. This is actually written by Ed Wood. I'm not super familiar with Ed Wood. For years and years, Ed Wood's infamous for making horribly bad movies. That's just, he's like the Schlockmeister, tons of stuff. He's infamous for making horrible movies. So I put this in. It's a black and white kind of delinquent scare movie where the kid's gone so bad that it's supposed to scare all the parents and whatnot. This follows 4 girls, a girl gang, which I thought was really cool to see, kind of like these tough girls controlling stuff back in the 60s. That's not something you normally see in even in film today, but it's fun that they kind of did that. It does a strange thing. It's kind of unique that the lead girl is from a rich family. She has everything she could want. She's basically a thrill seeker, a thrill killer. As the crimes heighten, they're robbing gas stations, and of course they get in a shootout with cops, and people end up dead. The whole movie actually feels like it's fairly progressive in terms of film until the very ending. And the ending brings up this super strange nurture deal about why people are bad. It's all nurture, none of it's nature. I don't think they'd get along with the bad seed. The bad seed's all nature, not nurture. But they have this huge ham-fisted ending in here, which is it actually comes across hilarious, and it's almost like so ham-fisted. I didn't know if it was satirical or serious, and I still don't know. I imagine it was serious at the time. The acting's fairly decent. There's no real special effects, of course, in these kind of movies. When somebody gets shot, they say, "Oh!" They fall on the ground. There is a rape scene in here. It's off screen, of course, but it is 4 women supposedly raping a man, and the movie seems super mean-spirited for what happens. It almost punishes the parents of this girl more than it actually punishes the girl. I don't want to say that necessarily, but it punishes the parents of one of these girls more than it does anybody else in the entire movie. There's lots of lapse of reason. It's not a good movie in terms of that, but it's interesting because it's this delinquent girl gang running amok. There's people that are way older playing roles that are supposed to be younger. It's interesting. It's very short. It's about 56 minutes long. The highlight on this movie is actually you have Frank Keenan-Lauder doing a commentary along with the Ed Wood historian, and they have a lot of laughs at the movie's expenses. And they wonder why Ed Wood didn't direct it. There's lots of great moments. They point out a lot of the goofs in the movie, like, why are they just standing here talking in mid-conversation when the cops are right around the corner? They're just shooting at them. There's some really memorable dialogue in here as well. I believe it is in the trailer. She says, "I just shot a cop. What's it to you?" or something like that. And there's a line, "They're shooting at us. What do you think they're expecting me to use? Powder something?" I don't remember, but the dialogue like that's very memorable. It's hokey, it's cheesy, but it's expected. Anatomy of a Psycho is the bonus feature on here. They're both in, I believe, 4K, so that's amazing. I think Anatomy of a Psycho might only be in 2K, but both of them look spectacular. They're both in widescreen. Anatomy of a Psycho, I believe it was 61. I had heard about this movie years ago. Never got a chance to watch it. This one I actually think is a little better. I think it's a little bit better put together. I think it's a better film. It's less hokey, although it is hokey. The ending, again, kind of ruins it a little bit, but that's just a product of its time. Almost like they're like, hey, maybe we crossed the line here on both these movies. We crossed the line a little bit. We're going to try to backstep and try to make it, more approachable for the mainstream audience. I don't know. But Anatomy of a Psycho feels like they did that. We have the story of this family, this guy, he goes to the witness his brothers, talks to his brother right before his execution, and he can't let this slide. His brother tells him he's innocent, and it drives him nuts. It drives him to get revenge on everybody who was involved, all the kids of everybody who was involved in sending his brother away. His sister is in a relationship with a super nice guy, and this super nice guy's father was the main witness at the lead guy's and her brother's trial, which put him away, which put him into the gas chamber. So it complicates things. The main guy here gets his gang together, and they go around and they start beating people up, and a lot of these complex issues come out with him and who all these people are, and it becomes a fairly good drama. There's a cop involved who knows that this gang's up to no good, and he becomes almost like a vigilante cop, but you like him. He's actually painted as the best character in the movie along with the sister. There's, again, some hilarious dialogue. And, the fight scenes aren't particularly great. But I actually thought the psychology of the character, the main bad guy, didn't seem too off. I mean, he is a ego. He's nuts. And he does a lot like the most loathsome bad guys do is they play innocent. And when he plays innocent, you want to strangle him. But it ends up becoming this courtroom drama with this horrible prosecutor that you want to punch in the nose because he's completely wrong without giving too much away. And it leads up to this ending. And up to then, it's pretty good. It's pretty solid. The ending gets really hokey. And it goes completely against what they were setting up. It's super bizarre. I don't know. And that just must be a product of their time. But it takes these kind of, both the endings of these movies, the first one not so much, but this one especially, takes this semi-decent B movie with some nice dramatic moments and some psychological stuff, and it just turns it into a cheese fest. I don't know, but both the movies look good. If you're interested in this, I'd check them out. They're both a decent time killer. I enjoyed checking them out, like I said, and they're unique, kind of oddball films. They're The Violent Years and Anatomy of a Psycho.
They're shooting back.
What'd you expect him to do, throw powder puffs?
Get behind me, Satan, get behind me, Satan, get behind.
Do what they say, Shirley. They've got guns.
Yes, Shirley, we've got guns.
Come on, Satan, and push. What I hate you. Close, 'cause I can cause more trouble than most. And I ain't in no mood to boast. Get behind me, Satan, and push.
So what?
Get behind me, Satan, get behind me, Satan, get behind me, Satan, and push. I'm real gone mad, and that's just too bad.
These fool kids, when'll they learn?
These aren't kids. These are morons.
The next one is Zoology. This is actually a Russian film. This is from Arrow Academy. I had not heard much about this movie. I put it in, and right away, I just reading the back and kind of like, looking into it, seeing the commercial and knowing a little bit about it, I knew this was going to be kind of an emotional kind of tearjerker. We have this outsider, this middle-aged woman. She's lives with her mother still, her over-religious mother, in this kind of small town where everybody's superstitious and kind of backwoods, and they just are mean-spirited people. She works at the zoo where all the women treat her like crap. They make fun of her. They, call her hippopotamus under her breath. She's a bizarre character, but for some reason you really feel sorry for her. You like her. She has a connection with the animals, and soon you find out why she has this connection with the animals. Without spoiling too much, I don't think I can get around the plot or get around the story or get around anything without saying it. And it's in the trailer. You can spot it for a second, but she ends up growing this tail, and she starts hearing all these weird myths around town from the doctors. Well, the people heard from the doctors, somebody has a tail and they're the devil spawn and whatnot. She ends up starting this relationship with a guy who does x-rays because she wants to get it removed. And the x-rays keep going wrong, like the tail moves on its own, and she starts this love relationship with the x-ray guy. I don't know actually what it's called. It's not called the X-Ray Guy, I'll tell you that much. But what happens is she completely blossoms into a new character from this relationship. She starts dyeing her hair, taking care of herself, and standing up to her boss a little bit, although it doesn't end in her benefit. And it becomes kind of like a beautiful love story that ends in a tragedy. It's really sad. There's lots of moments. This movie's not shot like a big budgeted movie at all. It is an art film, and there's a lot of I want to say handheld shots that just follow her walking and follow and to go wide at certain times. It's a unique movie. It's shot not conventionally. It's shot unconventionally, and it's shot nice. It looks nice, and it's a really good movie about a certain character. And the ending's so sad. Like it's just. And they leave it a little open-ended, but you can pretty much gather what probably happened to this poor person. But I would recommend checking it out. There is an interview on here with one of the lead actors in Russian, and there is an interview in here with a film historian who talks about the movie. And he says this movie works so well, which I agree too, and with him pointing it out, it fits so much well. He says this movie is very realistic. It's like a drama, but it has these fantasy elements in it, but the fantasy elements are played realistically. It's not a fantasy movie, but it has one fantasy element that doesn't really happen or couldn't happen, but it's played in a realistic way. Kind of like Horns started out, and then Horns got ridiculous. This one feels that kind of way, but it's more heartfelt, and I really recommend checking it out, especially if you like foreign cinema or movies that have I don't want to say bittersweet because it's very sad, but tragic, I would say, but also I feel really bad for this lead actress. She does a tremendous job. She's like equal parts cute and sympathetic and a little bit nuts at the same time. But that's Zoology. Those 2 features are on there: the interview with the film historian for 25 minutes and like a 12-minute interview with the actor. I'm interested to see what this director does next.
Самка бегемота. 2, 4, 6 букв. Даша. Какие-нибудь обезболивающие таблетки.
Наташ, есть будешь? Да, мам, немножко.
Ты знаешь, что в нашем районе женщина развелась одна. Говорят, бесноватая. У этой женщины сзади хвост волочится. Вот не смейся, пожалуйста, я не сошла с ума.
Я Наташа.
Петя, мы будем считать, что первый. Ну что, не больно?
Вы мне сделайте, чтобы было симпатично и чтобы...
Что на тебе напяли-то? Посмотри, как нормальные люди одеваются. Посмотри, как нормальные люди одеваются.
Поговорила с отцом Андреем, он велел защиту поставить. И хвост этот живет отдельный от этой женщины жизнью.
Вот мы выпьем, чтобы все всегда получалось.
The next one here is the Spanish Chainsaw Massacre. Yeah. You don't need to go to Texas for chainsaw. How's that go? I'm just kidding. That's the piece's tagline. But Spanish Chainsaw Massacre. With a name like that, you got to be interested. At least I was. Maybe I'm a sucker for this kind of stuff. This is a Spanish movie, of course, about this metal band that ends up going to this small little Spanish town of nutballs that basically kill and hack them up and do all sorts of weird stuff to them. The town's filled with weird, bizarre, gross characters. One that craps all the time and craps in a bucket that ends up crapping on somebody else. This is the kind of stuff that's going to happen in here. This is the type of movie where all the characters are like just gross and they'll add fart sounds here and there. The metal band is not really likable. They're morons. They're gross. Their manager's a nutball, a dickhead too. Everybody's a jerk in the movie. Everybody's gross. Everybody's stupid, including the killers. It is a splatter movie. That's what it's there for. And it delivers on the goods. It's not good. I mean, it is made in Spain. It's probably a few years old as it is, but it feels like this movie would have been made in like 2002 in the United States. Or even way before that, but that kind of like extreme movies that were coming out then. It reminds me of Alex Chandon's movie Inbred, but not as good as Inbred. It's not as well made as Inbred. I thought Inbred was pretty cool. Town Full of Psychos. That's exactly what this is. It has, like I said, moments of gore, some really grotesque stuff, including somebody cutting open a stomach and pulling out a baby. That kind of stuff's what you're going to see. It's goofy. It's supposed to be funny. It's over the top. It's always gross. It's always gross. The opening of the movie, actually, though, I think was shot. It's got to be by somebody like Richard Griffin or a friend of Richard Griffin. It uses all the Richard Griffin, familiars and like favorites and stuff like that. A lot of his cast and crew. It's shot completely different, and it's like a tie-in. Like the movie wasn't long enough to shot this opening for the Wild Eye release. I'm not necessarily sure. I haven't heard anybody else mention it. I haven't heard anybody else talk about it. But that opening really has got to be shot by Richard Griffin. It has Michael Thurber and a couple other actor and actress that I recognize. So, if anybody knows information about that, it's not on any of the stuff, but it looks like it was an opening shot in America to add onto this movie to kind of set it up so people would understand more of what's going on and pad the runtime. There's some trailers on here. That's all pretty much that the disc has to offer. If you're looking for gore, if you're looking for splatter, then look no further than the Spanish Chainsaw Massacre. But I'm not a huge fan of it, but it delivers on what it says it will. next one here. This is a bootleg, so nobody get excited. It's not on Blu-ray. I do have the DVD of it. It is Body Parts by Eric Red. Eric Red did Bad Moon. I always like Bad Moon. I never got a chance to watch the DVD. I just kind of watched it on HD. I believe it's on iTunes. If I'd have known that, I probably would have just bought that. But it's cool that I have this disc. So I put this in. It has Jeff Fahey in it. It's Brad Dourif's in it. Paul Ben Victor from stuff like True Romance and Tombstone. So yeah, I put this in. It's about a psychiatrist who he ends up getting in a car accident and losing his arm, and he gets this this weird donor. He doesn't know where the donor is, and pretty soon he starts to realize something's not right. And he realizes that he got the arm of a killer. So he starts kind of realizing, he starts to wonder where evil lies. Is it in the skin? Is it in the blood? Is it in your sight? Is it in your brain? And he starts to question himself. It's nice because he's a psychiatrist, so he realizes, man, you kind of ask that question, have I always been messed up, or is this arm making me crazy? Of course, the arm is kind of super powered, and it is a state-of-the-art, a medical treatment. He seeks out the other two people that receive one of the arms and somebody who received the legs, and Brad Dourif's this painter. He received the arm, and he's drawing all these crazy things, but he hasn't killed anyone. He doesn't have any of these violent tendencies. And the guy with the legs, he's having some muscle spasms, but that's it. So Jeff Fahey starts to question more and more as he gets more violent towards his kids and his wife. And then the crazy stuff starts to happen. I don't want to spoil anything after that, but murders start to happen, and signs point to him at first. You think, is it him? And it gets really, really crazy. Brad Dourif's got a really intense performance in here as this crazy painter, and his eyes, he acts so well with his eyes. He's intense. The acting's top notch. Jeff Fahey's tremendous in it, and usually when he gets a chance to act well, he really does, especially in stuff like Planet Terror and this. But this one, I was really impressed with his performance. It's probably one of the best I Got a Bad Transplant movies I've ever seen. There's a lot of those, and they do it well. In Body Parts, they do it a couple times. The Toby Hooper's segment with the eye, and Stacey Keach with the hair, which is priceless. But it's one of those deals where I got a bad piece of body part and now I'm crazy. But the ending of this movie is batshit. It goes way over the top. It doesn't feel like it's going to go there. I'm like, this is a nice psychological horror movie, like maybe something like The Dark Half, and then like The Dark Half, it goes completely bonkers in that at the end of the movie. Regardless, I enjoyed it. I like seeing Paul Ben Victor have a nice role in here, a nice kind of intense role for him, which is really cool to see. And Jeff Fahey does a tremendous job. Acting's great, and the gore scenes, when they do happen, they're pretty nasty. Eric Red, the two movies that I know off the top of my head that he did, the horror movies at least, I'm satisfied. I thought they're solid ass movies that I think Bad Moon gets the recognition it deserves, but not sure Body Parts does. The letterbox is a little low. I think it deserves a little higher than that. But that's Body Parts. Check out the trailer.
I'd appreciate it if you'd send a copy to all the members and indicate that
Bill, there's nothing to worry about. Everything's going to be just fine. You lost your arm in a car accident yesterday. We've transplanted another arm for you.
How does it feel to have someone else's arm?
Dad, it's sort of gross.
Well, that's not how it looks. It's how it works, right? I think there's something the matter with me. Oh! It's the arm.
Billy! What's going on?
There's something wrong with the person he used to belong to.
You have this guy's arm. You don't have his personality.
I want you to run my prints. Any past record I had would show up on the printout, right? You put a killer's arm onto my body and you didn't tell me.
That arm can't do anything you don't want it to.
How do you know that? Where does evil live? Does it live in the soul? In the mind? Maybe it lives in the flesh.
Maybe you got some kind of demon inside of you these days.
Why doesn't anybody want to ask any questions about these operations? I hit my kid. I tried to strangle my wife. I have nightmares every night. I want this farm off!
Don't you realize what I and my team have accomplished with that arm?
Take the kids and go to your mother's. Don't pack, just go now!
Body parts.
We're making history here.
The next one here is Drum by Kino and Scorpion. Yeah, I had not seen Mandingo. This is like a quasi-sequel to that. I put this in, I looked at the cast, I said, man, Yelfam Kodo, Fiona Lewis, the main lady from Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia, Kenny Norton, I was like, Royal Dano, tons of people, and of course, Warren Oates. I put that, I saw that, and I was like, I have to see this. And Pam Grier, geez, I forgot Pam Grier, so it's got a lot of my favorites in there. I put this in, and this is like a slavesploitation movie. This is a super exploitative movie. So if you don't like exploitation movies, you're not going to like this. If you're usually offended, you're not going to like this. But, you know, I love exploitation movies. I love 70s and 80s cinema, 60s cinema, stuff that, you know, pushes the boundaries and stuff that's just, I know it's like not good for you. I know it's not good for my brain, but it's entertaining as hell, and it's got a lot of great actors in it, a lot of good scenes in it as well. And no point in this movie did I never not side with the slaves in there. So, I mean, it's not like it's like making it saying slaves are bad, yada yada. You always pretty much side with the slaves in the movie. Which this is a story obviously takes place during slavery. We have Kenny Norton, the famous heavyweight boxer, and Yelfam Kodo end up getting sent to this plantation run by Warren Oates. Warren Oates is a breeder. He breeds slaves because at a certain point they stop letting people import slaves from different countries for obvious good reason. And eventually, obviously, we all know slavery ended. And he basically breeds slaves to, keep money going and keep more and more slaves and then turn around and sell them. He gets Kenny Norton, Yelfam Kodo in because they're supposed to be studs. Fiona Lewis is in there as kind of like taking care of the house, and she's after Warren Oates, who is running this plantation. And Warren Oates has a bunch of friends around and breeders and whatnot. One who has a particular problem with Kenny Norton. He's a homosexual man who made advances at him. And again, people will be offended that this homosexual character is portrayed evil, but I'd rather have a homosexual character portrayed evil or normal instead of a super bland vanilla character that's just, oh, he's good. I don't know. It's just always so weird that they do that now. Is that if there's a minority character or somebody like that, they always have to just be this perfect, nice, good character, and it's just so unrealistic all the time. Not that I'm saying that the evil gay guy is realistic. It's over the top. The whole movie's ridiculous and exploitative. This movie's packed with nudity, tons of sex. It's super sleazy. It had my jaw dropping at points. I was like, man, I thought this was going to be a little bit more on the up and up. But saying that, Warren Oates is top notch in the movie. He does one of his best performances. He's semi-comedic, semi-dramatic. He's just one of those actors that always does such a good job, and he gets a lot of meat to chew on and plays a kind of a complex character. Unfortunately, Pam Grier is a little underused, but she does a solid job. Yelfam Kodo has a great role, and Kenny Norton holds his own weight in here. He's not really an actor. He wasn't Mandingo, but he holds his weight in here, and he doesn't embarrass himself. I love seeing Royal Dano pop up as a real son of a bitch slave driver. But, of course, there's this big revolt at the end, and it gets super violent, and there's a lot of shootouts. So the cinematographer was the Peck and Paws on the Wild Bunch. So what you have here is some slow-motion shooting at the end. But the movie just pushes the boundaries on everything. It's sleazy. It's exploitative in so many ways, but it's also really well-made. And, I guaranteed Quentin Tarantino saw this one and, took freely for Django Unchained. So if you like Django Unchained, I really recommend checking Drum. It's similar to that kind of style, except this one has much more sexual stuff in it. But I really enjoyed the hell out of it, to be honest. I ordered Mandingo immediately to check it out. I had not seen it. But this movie has a tremendous cast. It's tremendously well acted. And if you like exploitation films, if you're not really offended by exploitation films, they are products of their time, and they are exploitative. That's what they're doing. Then I'd really recommend checking this one out. It's vastly entertaining, even though, it's not necessarily guilt-free for some people. But, I like this kind of stuff. I take it for what it is. And really well acted, like I said. Entertaining as hell. Drum.
Here, over 10 million people saw Mandingo, an epic motion picture based on one of the boldest best-selling novels of all time. Now, there's a new film that penetrates even deeper into the decadence and depravity of the Old South. Mandingo lit the fuse. Drum is the explosion. Drum, searing the screen with passion, blazing with violence.
Cuts good, don't it?
Exploding with excitement. Drum, a story of love and lust.
No white man can ever love you like I will.
Savagery and sensuality. Brutality and revenge.
They take our men and turn them into good and faithful dogs happy to eat a white man's leaving. They tell us what wenches to pleasure like horses. They sell our children and we lick their hands.
Drum.
I know nothing of culture. I'm a slave trader.
Starring Warren Oates, Pam Grier, Yaphet Kotto, Brenda Sykes, John Colicos, Paula Kelly, Isela Vega, and Ken Norton as Drum. It's frightening, fascinating, spectacular, and shocking. Mandingo lit the fuse. Drum is the explosion.
The next one here is Junior Bonner from Kino. This is a Sam Peckinpah movie. This one was, Peckinpah was known for doing like movies like The Wild Bunch, having a big hit, and then making something personal, like The Ballad of Cable Hogue. This one, he had Straw Dogs, so he went out and made Junior Bonner. This is a drama. This is a family drama. This is a personal movie, seemingly, for Sam Peckinpah. It's not the gratuitously violent movies he's infamously known for, Ballad of Cable Hogue and Junior Bonner are kind of like his step back, these dramatic movies that are actually, really well made and full of great cast. This one has Steve McQueen, Ben Johnson, Ida Lupino from Devil's Reign. Who else is in this one? Robert, I can't remember that guy's name off the top of my head. This is the first time I've seen him in a movie, but it also has Bill McKinley. Like I said, there's some other people in here. Dub Taylor, a lot of Peckinpah regulars. What we have here is this aging cowboy who does the rodeo circuit, Steve McQueen, and he is going back to his hometown to meet up with his family. His brother is Joe Don Baker, great actor as well, and he's become like this kind of businessman, and he's kind of exploiting this town in a way, and bought his father's land. His father is a lot like him. He just refuses to grow up. He refuses to do anything different but the rodeo lifestyle, and this leaves his mother kind of kind of understanding all this, and Joe Don Baker kind of jealous of his father, his brother and his father's relationship, but also knowing that, man, you need to get your shit together, guys. So it creates this drama. Ben Johnson runs the rodeo. It's always great to see him. And Junior Bonner's whole deal is that he wants to best this bull and ride it for 8 seconds in his hometown, Sunshine, this bull that bested him the previous rodeo. It does have Peckinpah things that you would notice, like a lot of the editing in here, like in the beginning when it's showing a house getting bulldozed that was his father's, and a flashback to the bull riding stuff. And there is some slow motion as well. It has like some comedic stuff that like Ballad of Cable Hogue would have, with the father and son riding the horse to backyards and falling off and stuff like that. There's a classic bar fight scene in here, a saloon fight, which is always fun. So you got a lot of that kind of stuff in here. Not saying that the saloon fights are typical of Peckinpah movies, but it's typical of these kind of movies of the time. But what really stands out about this movie is the performances and is the relationship between the characters. Steve McQueen does a great job in this one. I know, like, in the commentary, they were saying that the experts were saying, a lot of people looked at Steve McQueen and said, he's just an action star. That's all McQueen is. I don't think so. I've never seen him in a movie and thought, man, that guy can't act. The weakest performance he ever gave was The Blob, but The Blob's weakest movie I've ever seen him in, because I don't hate The Blob, but it's not particularly great. It's one of those movies that most people can't argue that the remake is better. I mean, you can't really argue the other way around. I don't think so. But McQueen, pops up in stuff like The Getaway, of course, and Magnificent Seven, The Great Escape. Always top-notch in those movies. This is probably his most meatiest role he has in here. And like when you listen to the commentary, they say there's a lot of depth in here with Peckinpah and his family relationships, and that kind of stuff interests me. I love the sets. It looks, not sets, they're all shot on location, but I love the detail. They do, everything's decorated. Nothing ever seems out of place. Nothing ever seems fake in here. it's just a nice little movie. It's a nice dramatic piece with all these characters. It's bitterly sweet and sad at the same time. Vastly enjoyable. Has some fun moments. It's just a nice little family drama that you wouldn't really expect from Peckinpah. There's a 55-minute making of on here, which I enjoyed watching. It has the writer in here. He talks a lot about it. It has some sets where he talks about working with Peckinpah and working with McQueen and all that. There's some people remembering a lot of Peckinpah memories as well. That's like a 25-minute thing. A lot of these things I've seen before. They have people like Ernest Borgnine and L.Q. Jones on there and all sorts of people. But, I like Peckinpah because he uses a lot of the same actors. I like what he has to say about, relationships and masculinity and stuff like that. It just seems more complex. It's a good way of showing a masculine side of a man, but also the sensitive side of a man. As I don't know if I could sound like a bigger wussy talking about Peckinpah, but that's just no matter how violent they get, there's always that weird kind of I don't want to say sentiment. There is sentimentality, but this loyalty and also sensitivity to them. I don't know how to explain it, but that's just how it seems to me. His movies, I just enjoy them for that reason and many more. But that's Junior Bonner. I'd recommend checking it out. It looks damn good. I don't think it's ever been released on Blu-ray anywhere else, but Kino did a hell of a job with it, and the commentary is nice to hear. The two featurettes on there are great as well. Just enjoyed the hell out of it, and I think most people will too if you give it a chance. You watch a trailer and know what you're getting into.
Steve McQueen as Junior Bonner.
There never was a horse that couldn't be rode. There never was a cowboy that couldn't be throwed.
Famous old saying, right? Steve McQueen as Junior Bonner. He has only one problem: the 20th century.
Boys, times have changed.
You ought to take up another line of work.
Yeah, I'm working on my first $1 million. You're still working on 8 seconds.
Rodeo time. I gotta get it on down the road.
I'll be in town this weekend, honey. Look for me downtown.
Welcome home, Gia.
You got a girl?
Why?
Why not?
You're just some kind of motel cowboy.
Either shake your hand or bite it off.
Well, it happens all the time, dude.
I picked up $35 in Reno. I couldn't get a decent ride.
Lend me $15, man. You already owe me 25. Well, that's 40.
Now, you might as well face it. You're just not the rider you was a few years back.
I need it, Buck. It's my hometown.
But I'll do all right in the frontier days unless all the good folks die. I was raised in the town of Fresky. I got the whole on my side, gonna win top money. I'm a rodeo man.
If this world's all about winners, what's for the losers?
We could have won.
We did, Ace.
You're my brother. And I guess I love you.
Gotta go down on the road.
I'll park my 2-horse trailer up at the rodeo grounds and I'll start roaring. I'm a rodeo man.
Steve McQueen as Junior Bonner, the last of his kind.
Let's get into the old contest. It's for Over Your Dead Body. I'm not going to do a new contest today. I want to get caught up. I think I want to maybe do a Christmas one and just do a nice little bundle for Christmas at the end of the month. So that way you guys can get a couple good, decent things instead of just stuff that almost everybody has. But this is for Over Your Dead Body. Who wins? John Wilhelm. See? It's always like the same 10 people entering the competition. So you guys spread the word if you want. It would be greatly appreciated if you shared the video. Not hold the gun to your head or anything, but it would be greatly appreciated. Let me get into the Q&A here. We have Mike. What's your favorite Christmas horror film? He picks Christmas Evil. I answered that previously. That's also my favorite. But as far as new ones, I'll go Krampus. As far as ones people don't talk about, don't open till Christmas. James Grimmer. Do you ever watch movies that take place in the season during whatever season it is? For instance, do you watch movies that take place in the winter during the winter season? Not really. You know, if I get a hankering to watch something, I'll pop it in. I don't really have even on Halloween, I don't typically watch a Halloween movie. I used to sometimes pop in Night of the Demons or, Midnight Hour. It's weird like that. I don't get like that. And do you ever watch movies as a double feature around the same time that are based on a theme? Yeah, I do that. I just did that last week. I did the 2 Jesse James movies, and Younger Gang. I did the Great Northfield, Minnesota Raid, and I did the Long Riders, both with about Jesse James and the Younger Gang. So I like kind of doing that. Like, sometimes I'll get in the anchor. Like, I just watched Drum, so now I'm like, well, now I got to go watch Mandingo. Sometimes I'll watch them both on the same night or back to back, the next day. Nick. He got a... Yep. Nick, what's your favorite Stephen King adaptation? Christine. Love Christine. I think it's better than the actual book. I've read the book. I like the Christine movie better than the book. I don't think Ghost eating pizza would have translated particularly well on film. Why are so many screen adaptations lousy or just kind of sort of okay? I mean, some of that stuff probably doesn't translate well. Sometimes, I'm going to say this. This is particularly with, like, the X-Men movies or something. Somebody will take, I have the story, I have everything outlined, I have it in a freaking comic book. Basically, you have the, all the pictures drawn for you. All you got to do is this to this. And a lot of people are like, well, I want my take on X-Men. I wish they would just hire people to do this comic, damn it. A lot of times they'll get directors in there. It's like, we don't want your take on X-Men. People are going to see X-Men, okay? Make the damn X-Men. As far as book adaptations, there's so much stuff in characters' heads that you can go in depth, and without doing narration, it would be really hard to do a lot of that. It's just, some stuff doesn't translate well to screen. Some stuff's so crazy, some stuff's so different. Even accompanying my Slaughterhouse 5. I know it's been made into a movie. I've not seen the movie. I don't know how it works, but that would be very damn hard to make into a movie. I don't know. A lot of probably the directors that could do it don't want to do it. Matthew Lee Bushwell, if you could have a monster from a horror movie as a pet, what would you have? That's a good one. Dog Ghoulie, or Toad Ghoulie, or whatever the hell he is, from Ghoulies 2. The one that crawls on his stomach. Only if he wouldn't freaking kill me or kill anyone else, because that's my favorite Ghoulie. It reminds me of like a bulldog. The best Ghoulie. John Wilhelm, if you were to create a Critter sequel, would you totally ignore the third or fourth movies and do a direct sequel to the second, or would you have a complete new setting, kind of like what Part 3 did, only better? I'd probably start over. I like the small town feel, but I know Critters 3 was supposed to take place in a city. It's been years since I saw Critters 3. But maybe I'd go suburbs, maybe something that I'm more familiar with. Let's do The Burbs meets Critters. How fun would that be? That would be fun. I'd do something like that. That just fits me more. Let's get into the update. There was a Black Friday, so I didn't get everything for my Black Friday yet that I ordered, but I got enough. Let me do the 4K ones. They were cheap, so I got Cabin in the Woods. I enjoyed this movie. Haven't had a chance to rewatch it. I'll rewatch it in 4K now. Unforgiven, classic. Haven't seen it in years. Wanted to rewatch it. 4K was on sale. I grabbed that. Starship Troopers, did not have the Blu-ray. Love this movie. Rico, you know what to do. Michael Ironside, Clancy Brown, come on. 310 to Yuma, been a while since I've seen this one, the remake. I saw this when it came out, have not seen it since. Didn't have it on Blu-ray. And the Goodfellas, did not have it on Blu-ray. One of my favorites, all-time great movies. I mean, can you beat that Pesci performance? Can you beat De Niro in that? Ray Liotta, great movie, man. Love that one. And I didn't have the Blu-ray, so boom. Let's go into the Ronin flick sale. Go Tell the Spartans. I believe this is the Scorpion. This is Burt Lancaster war movie. They had like 50% off if you buy like 5 titles. The Sisterhood. This looks like a post-apocalyptic movie. And according to the little banner up top, Roger Corman's post-nuke collection. We have Equalizer 2000. Again, these are all on sale. I'm happy to get them. We have Wheels of Fire. Hopefully that glare is not too bad for you guys. I'm trying. Damn Angels. I haven't had a chance to watch any of these. These came really fast, too. I ordered them Friday, and they were on my door Monday. Maybe even Saturday. No, it had to be Monday. It was Monday. Truck Stop Women by Mark Lester. I wanted to see this one for a while. Mark Lester's the man. Mark Lester did Class of 1984, Class of 1999, Showdown in Little Tokyo, Commando, Firestarter, tons of good stuff. Cocaine Wars. Julie Darling. It's funny I'm buying these all on Blu-ray and I haven't even watched my old DVDs. The Return. This is a Graydon Clark. I just watched Satan's Cheerleaders. Did not care for it. I want to bring up, I did see it. I forgot to mention, Graydon Clark did The Uninvited. I love The Uninvited. Clu Gallagher, George Kennedy, Alex Cord on a boat with a mutant killer cat. I love the hell out of that one. So I take it, I didn't like Satan's Cheerleaders, but I'm still willing to buy his stuff. Out of Control. And that sale's done. We got Salon Kitty, or Salon Kitty, by Tino Brass. The Cure for Wellness. Good price. Like $6, $7. The Paul Naschy Collection Volume 2, with Hunchback in the Morgue, a dragonfly for each corpse, the devil possessed, exorcism, and werewolf and the Yeti. I still need to get part 1. If anybody's selling part 1 for cheap, let me know. Vanishing Point. Trespass by Walter Hill. Man, this is a great movie. It's been a long time since I've seen it. William Sadler, Bill Paxton, Ice Cube, Ice-T, Tom Lister, Glenn Plummer. This one was, I paid $3.50 for it. It's the remake of Blair Witch. They were 2 for $7. Nerve, Emma Roberts, 2 for $7. That's what I grabbed them. We have the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. Somebody hooked me up with that at a good price. This is the Twilight Time release. Bunch of people in that one. I think Roger Corman directed it. The Ninth Configuration. I've always wanted to see this damn movie. Can never find it for a good price. Got a used copy, pretty good. Johnny Hanson by Walter Hill. Been years since I've seen that one. Always liked it. It's got a great cast in here as well. It says Alan Barkin, Forrest Whitaker, Morgan Freeman. I believe that Lance Hendrickson's in that one too. And 48 Hours. You know, this is one of those movies, it's a Walter Hill movie, that I've seen around all the damn time. I think I saw it on TV. It's like his most popular movie. I love Walter Hill. Seen all his other stuff, but I don't think I've seen that one. Well, not the whole way through. And this is Sam Peckinpah's first movie, The Deadly Companions, with Brian Keith. Only released on DVD, but this is the VCI widescreen edition. I don't think the other editions are in widescreen. I just want to thank you guys all for watching. And if you have a question to ask, please go to the Screamy Toilet page. I know there's no contest, but feel free to ask a question still. It'll be greatly appreciated. Or some feedback, as always, is greatly appreciated as well. But you guys have a good one. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. I'm Mr. Parka. Adios.